What is up? We got Metal Gets Me High, episode 60. We got me and Ramon, and we have special guests. We have Logan. Logan is in the
It's
bands
popping.
Denial of Life and Cystic. How you doing tonight?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we
This
really
this is tight.
appreciate you being on. I found out about your band Cystic recently. It's
Cool.
one of those bands where, like, I checked, because we knew we were having you on. I went back and checked out all your discography, and I was like, this is something that I should know about, but for whatever reason,
Yeah.
I hadn't found it yet, and I'm very happy to have found it.
Yeah,
Both
man.
your
We
bands,
like to keep it low key.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, hey, I'm glad, dude. I was on my way home fucking blasting you guys. I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking hard right here. I love this shit.
Hell yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, no, we're low key boys. You know what I mean? We like to keep to ourselves and just kind of chill.
Well, I think what I liked about it is like it's not similar to a lot of like what's going on in death metal where like you have a lot more grindier parts, and like my favorite part was the production where like it sounds
Oh, sick,
dirty
fire.
but good,
Yeah,
and that's for like the grindish like death type stuff. I think that's the way to go, is having that kind of dirty production, and I'm a fan. I'm gonna keep you
sick.
guys spinning.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's hard to hit that sweet spot, between like having it sound nice and old school and not super polished. So we spent a lot of time trying to hit that sweet spot. So I'm glad you feel that way.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to touch on is that in Denial of Life, you just played Northwest Hardcore Fest. We have a homie who was out there playing in. He's in Force to Suffer.
Oh
JT.
shit, fire!
So,
Those are the homies. Their drummer. I can't remember his name right now, but we just toured with him. He was filling in for Doomsday.
oh, sick. Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah, so I ran into him and I was like, oh shit.
how was your experience
JT.
with
Oh, go ahead.
Northwest Hardcore Fest this weekend? That was a
It was
sick
tight.
bill.
It was a sick bill, man. It was like tons of homies. It was just like it felt like all of our friends in one place. It's funny, it's our second time ever playing Portland.
Oh,
Portland
cool.
is like it's kind of gone up and down as far as like spots to play and like uh yeah, just like having shows like this the past couple of years has kind of been a little lull. So it's nice to be over there, but tons of homies, tons of because you guys are California, right?
We're
Yeah.
California, yeah.
Yeah.
We're the
Yeah,
Central
so we had
Valley of California.
okay. So we had some California homies. Um, some friends from like Boise area. It was just a lot of homies, and the fest was great. It was two stages, so it was kind of like stages looking right at each other.
Sick. Okay.
Good turnout. It was at this like CrossFit gym,
Oh, dope. Okay.
which
That's
sounds
dope.
crazy, but it was like honestly kind of sick. Like
A lot of
just
open
this big,
space. It's all
yeah,
just
big
open
open
space.
space.
That
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind
That's
of, you
dope.
saying that, it would make sense. Like I feel like usually they're in like commercial areas, and like they're very loud because they're always blasting music. So
Dude,
I could see how that
probably
works.
padded walls. You got some padded walls. You get some mosh pit
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
We had some features in there. We had a couple squat racks and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah.
Sick. Okay.
It
Hitting
was
PRs.
fun, man. Yeah, hit a few
Oh
PRs while
shit.
the homies were playing.
So we're not as familiar with like with Seattle. How's your guys' scene up there?
The scene is great, man. I mean,
Cool.
I kind of can't say enough positive things about it. Like I'll group the whole Pacific Northwest in there. So like we got Portland, Tacoma, Seattle, and like Vancouver, let's say. Um, but it's thriving, man. Like I think hardcore and metal are kind of split. Like there's not a lot of overlap like I see in like the Bay Area, for example,
Okay.
or some parts of like California or the rest of the country where it feels like it's a little more like
Us
uh,
Segregated.
versus them kind of
yeah, a
thing.
little more like you don't see a lot of mixed bills,
Yeah.
Agreed.
which has its ups and downs. I love a good mixed bill,
Same
um,
here.
Oh
but
yeah.
through
Yeah.
but it's thriving, man. I mean, I think like specifically death metal, like there's so many insane bands that have come out of Seattle and the Pacific Northwest in like, the past 10 years or so. Like Fetid, Mortiferum, Cerebral Rot, uh, all those kinds of bands, which are like pretty incestuous, like, a lot of homies playing in a lot of those bands. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's cool, man. I think there's like definitely like a style and a sound to, especially death metal stuff. Um,
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
oh, it's all
We
good.
lost you for a second. My
It's
oh
bad.
all
shit, am I
good. He's
back?
back. He's good.
Cool.
All right.
You know what? In you saying that, I feel like every time I see, these awesome tour packages going, it's something I notice as I feel like I do see more Pacific Northwest dates than maybe I saw, in previous years. So that what you're saying, that makes sense that, it's starting to maybe grow right now. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely like I think the Northwest is like pretty low key in general, so it's like there's definitely like it definitely flies under the radar, unless like you spend time out there, you got homies out there and you kind of know people out there.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see. And like Denial of Life, we're from Tacoma, which is
Okay.
like I can't think of a good analogy, but it's like, the kind of the little cousin of Seattle, like the
Okay.
sketchy little cousin or something.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right.
So like Tacoma in the past couple of years has started to be on the map, and like we're seeing like Tsunami, for example. You brought up Tsunami, like they just played Tacoma. They didn't go to Seattle at all,
Damn.
which
Okay.
is which is definitely a shift in the past couple of years of people kind of showing love to Tacoma, um, which is tight. I mean, it's like
Yeah, fuck
it's
yeah.
it's cool to see Tacoma start to get a little love on tours, especially.
Yeah,
Hey,
hell
I'm
yeah.
I'm with it because
The more shows
you
around, it also attracts like the more shows in the area, it just gets more people in. So,
yeah.
it's the more things you could have going on there, it just really, you know, you want
Yeah,
as many
definitely,
things as
man. And
possible.
there's a bunch of kids and stuff, and like, it's cool to see. It's like people out here need shows. Uh,
Agreed.
people out here need good things to do and like some positive shit. Um,
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
so it's cool to see, and hopefully, in time, like it'll just keep kind of growing.
I think
Hell
it's
yeah.
it's going to keep growing because like you look at a band like Knock Loose, where it's like if you look at the tour they just announced, they're
I know.
playing
I
these
was just looking at that.
huge venues,
They're
and they're
playing
like,
literally the biggest venue in Seattle.
see,
That's
like for
wild.
us in
I know.
San
I was tripping. I was like,
Francisco,
no fucking way.
they're playing a 4,500 cap in San Francisco. When last time
Exactly.
they were here, they were at an 1,800 cap. So like that shows me a lot. And like, it's like the old saying I've always heard Jamie Joss say, high tide raises all ships. Like I feel like we're
Yeah.
starting to see that where all these bands are uh getting big, and they're showing love by like putting on bands that are their peers, as opposed to
Definitely.
like whatever a label or whatever tells them to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it's like with that tour specifically, it's like Speed to bring the
Yeah.
homies from Speed over and like have them play insane, 5,000 cap venues is like it's a beautiful thing, like that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have that many people have eyes on a band like that. You're like, finally they're getting that exposure that they deserve, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like it's sick. It's tight, and exactly. It's like we all once one person comes up, like we all kind of come up, and like
Yeah.
I think we got to be nothing but like proud of all these
Yeah,
for them.
I'm definitely with you because like I think we're different. Me and Ramon and our buddy Brad, we're different. Where like I feel like right now the big thing is like hardcore kids getting into death metal, making death metal. Where we're like we were always the metal kids, and then like we found out about hardcore, and then it's like it's different, but it's the same in some aspect where it's like the scenes are obviously different, but like the music, it's riffs and it's pissed off. Like
It kind of
it's the
invokes the
same
Yeah,
thing,
same feelings. It invokes the
Yeah,
same feelings. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel you guys. Like when I like the homies that put me onto death metal were did not listen to hardcore at all, and they were not about it. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, yeah,
I that's definitely where I kind of like came up. But I mean, I was more of a punk. Like, that's kind of my into aggressive music. But definitely like the friends that I first saw playing death metal out here, uh, did not feel super strongly about the hardcore kids. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
always such a fucking divide, and like so it's nice to see that lessened a little bit. But I definitely can understand like both perspectives.
Hell
As
yeah.
what made you want to go from, or what made you want to jump in and like start creating heavy music, and how did you do so?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I mean, I think like I was always a pissed off little kid, like like definitely like attracted to more like aggressive music, whether that was like hip hop stuff or like punk. Um, so I always like loved the more like extreme music. And that was definitely what like attracted me. And I think I was just creative, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna do something, like it's gonna be aggressive and it's gonna be like quote unquote like extreme, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be something that makes me feel like I'm doing something, or it's gonna get that aggression out, or it's gonna get all those feelings out. Yeah, so I think just kind of starting to go to shows and see, loud bands, or like aggressive bands, and being like, damn, like I don't know what I want to do, but like I want to do something in this world.
Okay.
Yes, yes, 100%. It's funny that you say that because we just recently went to a show. Um, we watched Escuela
Was
Grind, Bonginator,
Okay.
Bulldog,
Bulldog
um,
Take Offense
Take
and
Yeah.
Offense.
Burn
It
Unit?
was yeah, Burn Unit. It was a great show, but I got home and I was like, because I've been trying to learn how to play the bass,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
got home and I was like inspired. I would fucking sat here for like 2 hours after the show, played bass, and then the next couple days kept doing it, and I was like, dude, that I know what you mean to that. You get that inspiration though.
Yeah, that's
That's
sick, man.
awesome.
I mean, that's like I
Yeah.
feel like that's the point of shows. Like, it's a good show if you go home and you're like, fuck, I gotta
I
play
was like,
guitar,
fuck,
or
I,
like
I feel I want to fucking
right,
That's
you're like, I
me.
gotta do something, man. You like leave with so
yeah.
much energy, and you're like, I gotta do something. I gotta do something creative. Like, that's what it's all about, man. And yeah, I
Yeah, it's
think like
awesome.
what made me like inspired was just going to shows and like seeing
Okay.
bands and being like, damn, like I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something.
I
Yeah.
think that's the
Yeah.
biggest difference in like every person who enjoys heavy music, like in their arc, is like once you see it live, you're like, oh shit, like you discover like it's like peeling an onion. You discover a different layer where like most of the time you're like, wow, this band is like way better live than just me putting in my earphones and listening to them. That was the part that like always sunk into me, where it's like, dude, like that is so fun just seeing, however many people on a stage doing their own thing, but it like coming together as one, and seeing the exchange of energy from them to the crowd. It's like it was something
Yeah,
that blew my mind, where you're just like, dude, like that, because I've gone to rap concerts and country concerts, and there's nothing
Doesn't hit the
quite
same.
like that, where like
yeah.
it like it becomes a different experience.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think that's what like sets a lot of this world apart from others, is like just that live experience. It's like it's nothing. There's nothing like it. And when I first started going to shows, I was like, this is insane. Like how is this a thing? And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just like especially like building that community too, and then you just like keep going to shows and you keep seeing people, uh, and it's just like it just snowballs, and then you like start having homies, and you start like seeing people that playing bands, and it's like it's just you're like I never want to leave this world.
Agreed.
For sure.
What like listening to your music, I could tell that you're a certified riffer. You wield that axe very well.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Two questions. When did you start playing guitar? And then what was the first guitar you had?
Oh, good question, man. I was kind of late. Like I think I started playing when I was like maybe 16, 17.
Okay.
Uh, which like for some people is pretty late. Like, some people are already like playing shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I was definitely a little late on the scene. It was hard for me to like I kind of grew up in like a rural area, so it was like hard for me to get out, and like I couldn't really take the bus and like go into the city. It was like a whole mission to get out there. So I
I
Okay.
wasn't
feel
like,
you, man. Yeah, that's how it is
yeah,
out here.
it
It's
was it was
fucking
a
2 hours each
struggle,
way to a city.
right, man. And it's like as
Yeah.
a kid, that's hard because it was like I didn't really have a lot of friends that were like into music, you know. So it was like kind of just trying to figure it out by myself. So I think had I like grown up in the city or something, like I would have been, it would have been a little earlier. Um, but just a shitty like red Squire,
Okay.
uh, you know, pretty classic, you know, like an old shitty Fender amp. Uh,
Hell yeah.
and like I was just trying to figure it out. Definitely not good. Never took any lessons. Like it was a struggle for sure. And then I had some homie, like one homie at school who played guitar, and he was like a crazy shredder. So he was kind of trying to put me on, but it was a struggle, man. It was a struggle. I wish I grew up with more like musicians and like kids that were into punk and like aggressive music, because it would have made things a lot easier. That's for sure.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, I feel you.
I'm
It's the same thing around here. Every where we grew up, it's you either listen to country, you listen to rap. Like it was one of the two.
Yeah.
There wasn't too many people that were listening
no.
to a lot of metal.
It's the kind
So
of
I know
area
what you
where
mean.
if you're listening to metal, it's like, oh, you listen to screamo? Like, no.
Yeah. No one quite understands. Yeah, and you're like
Yeah.
the weirdo.
You're like, I'm sorry, Lamb of God is not screamo, man.
Right,
Like,
right. You're like, whoa. We gotta slow your roll here, man.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because like Ramon said, we're in the Central Valley where like for us to go shows, it's an hour and a half to Sacramento, an hour and a half to the Bay Area, or
Hour
an
and a half
Right.
to
hour and
Fresno.
20 minutes to Fresno. So like,
Damn.
uh,
Yeah.
it's definitely a struggle, but that's like my favorite part is being the one show that I go to every month. It's like we just sit there like, oh, 2 more weeks till we get to see this
Right. You're
band.
like so hyped.
Yeah.
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 But
That's sick.
like the cool thing though is since we started this, we got acquainted with his name's Cam. He's the singer in the band These Streets. He's been putting
Okay.
on shows around here in a town called Lodi, which is probably like 35 minutes
Oh
away.
shit.
And
Okay.
there's been some sick bills that have gone there. Like we saw snuffed on sight body box corpse pile. So it's
Oh,
cool
fire.
that it's starting to, I feel like it's starting to boil up a little bit where like we're starting to get a little something going and
Yeah, that's sick,
make me
man. I mean,
happy.
it makes sense, especially for like splitting that drive from the Bay down to LA or something, you know, like it
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
it makes sense. And like those smaller area shows are the ones that pop off, you know,
Well, let me also tell you,
a lot
hey,
of the time.
what people don't know is this area of California has the best Mexican food in all of the nation. I shit you not.
Hell yeah.
Other than
I
maybe
believe you,
LA,
man.
but
Other than
I
what?
shit you
other than
not.
Los Angeles, I would say
We are
just because
maybe we're number two then for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
We get skipped out on, but man, you'll get a good ass burrito here from the
truck
Right.
too.
It's like, hey, that makes it all worth it. That makes a good show the
It
best show.
does, dude. A little taco
Right.
truck pull up. That's the way
Yeah,
to do it.
you got everyone to get some food after the gig. That's sometimes the
Yeah.
best part of the whole night is kicking it and eating food with the homies after the show.
Exactly.
That's funny.
As far as like you being in two different bands, obviously they're both very different styles. How do you
Yeah.
like when writing stuff? How do you kind of like decipher the two?
Yeah, definitely. Good question. I think like with cystic stuff, I have a much more specific idea of like at least what I want to like convey with a riff.
Okay,
And I think our like writing styles, like for example, like Julian, the drummer of Cystic, who plays in Mortiferum, Fetid, a bunch of bands, he's like
stick.
he's such a freak when it comes to songwriting. And like the way he'll approach a song, or like, you know, I'll bring him a riff, and like the way he approaches that riff, or like building a song structure around it, or building drum parts around it, is like so crazy. And he's like definitely one of the more creative drummers that I've played with. So I know that we don't want to be like a super traditional death metal band. You know, we want to like be authentic and kind of like write songs that like make us excited, you know, and
Yeah,
make us feel like we're being kind of authentic to ourselves. So I know if I bring him a riff, he's gonna have some really crazy ideas on like how to flip that riff on his head and like make it, you know, into its whole thing, you know, a whole different thing. Um, So I'm lucky to like have some other really good songwriters in both bands, you know. Cystic, like I definitely know kind of like what the vibe that I want, you know, or that we want to have with the song. And like this new record, I think like hopefully conveys that kind of well, you know. We wanted it to have like be more thematically like a record, or it like feels like a, you know, like this mood kind of.
Okay.
Um, and then with DOL, it's different. Nikki, who plays drums, also writes a lot of riffs, and like that is like such more of a like a straight like we this is what we want, this is what we want to do, you know, like no, let's remove all the like fat and just like have like every part be there for a reason. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm definitely lucky to like be in bands with some other really good songwriters.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so it
That
like
definitely probably helps lift the load a little bit. You probably like you feel a little ease on that. You're like, oh, I can trust them. They're gonna put out some fire shit. You know?
yeah, exactly, man. And it's like
Yeah.
everyone approaches songwriting differently, you know, so to like have more perspectives in the song, like really makes it you know all that much better. And like we've all been a band long enough to kind of like lock into like how we like to write songs,
Mhm.
and like know what our creative process is. um,
Okay.
so it's pretty streamlined at this point, you know. It's like it's when I have like a riff for like Cystic, for example, and I bring it in, it's like I know we're gonna do some interesting stuff like with this riff, and it's gonna like grow, you know, in however long it takes to like finish the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
it's makes sense that you say that you have a streamline because, like, if you look when I was looking, like, you've released steady music in both projects. It's been, pretty consistent. Of you
Yeah,
have 18, 19, 20, and 23 for Cystic, and then and now you have 2022 and I think 18 and 19 as well. So that makes sense that
yeah,
it sounds like you got a good process going.
yeah, for sure. We definitely, yeah, definitely are locking in a little bit more and more these days. You know.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Hell yeah.
One of my favorite things personally about Cystic, I love the artwork that you guys have on every
Sick.
single one of the releases.
Yes, dude.
Lots of detail in them, and like like just trippy but
That
eerie.
death
Like,
that death metal vibe you want to see before you press play. You're like, oh yeah, I'm ready for
Fire.
this.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Where do you come up with the ideas for those? Or like, and are they done by the same people?
Yeah. So I think they've all been different.
Okay.
That's sick. That's sick that you say that, because like with this record, like this last record, we took a lot of like, we definitely were like really intentional about what the vibe we wanted to convey was, which is like super like eerie. A lot of the lyrical themes are like ocean based, you know, or like
Okay.
wet and like dark, you know. So we definitely wanted to have like a record cover that kind of lent itself to some of the like lyrical themes. But
Yeah.
the homie Chase, I can't remember his last name, but Chase from Artiferum and Caustic Wound
Okay.
did the art, and it's like all oil, I think, and pastel shit. So that was like,
Wait. So do you have a physical copy of it? Do you have
yeah,
like a
we don't
physical?
personally, but
Oh,
Chase does. Yeah, and it's
oh, that's
sick,
dope
man.
as fuck.
He's a freak with the oil paints, man.
Oh, that's
Um,
so awesome. I thought it was like, like digital
Digital.
art or maybe like drawn
no,
or something. But
yeah, it's
oil
all oil
painting is
based.
having that on your wall would be badass.
I know, man. Yeah, it was sick. Like he had worked on this piece, and it was like this is perfect. This is exactly what we want to like convey, and like just be kind of eerie and dark and damp and like not over the top, you know, not super like,
Yeah.
we're not like super gory, you know. So
Yeah.
like we didn't want to have like a bunch of dripping bloody like body parts or
Yeah,
whatever, you know.
body
Like we
parts.
wanted, which is tight, but that's just not
A
the band
couple
that we are.
ghastly skulls and you're good to go, brother. That's all you
Right, right,
need.
right. It's like we want to keep it low
Yeah.
key. Like we're not trying to do
Yeah.
too much, and like we just want to like try and present like a pretty unified body of work with like the art, the lyrics, the like the riffs. And, uh, yeah, we just want to like keep it off, as authentic as we can, kind of.
That's good. My personal, like, going through the whole discography, my one of my favorite like showing of like, I guess, yin and yang is on the first release, Last Days, the song
Yeah,
Anti Cop, where it's like
demo. That's
fast, very grindy, but then you
Yeah,
go into misery. Yes, misery and lust, and it becomes like spacey and like slows everything down. I love those change in dynamics and stuff, and you
yeah.
have a
Thanks,
lot of
man.
that in your discography where you go very fast, but then like parts where there's a lot of space to kind of let you like breathe after getting pummeled a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think like that demo was crazy because we were kids when we wrote that, So it was like we just had so many crazy ideas and like weren't as good as at our instruments, and it was just like about as fucking raw as it gets. We were all fucked up all the time, like that was a whole nother lifetime ago. It feels like, but that's tight. That Anticop song is a Sepultura cover.
Oh, okay, that
Yeah,
makes
it's
sense then.
Yeah.
Antichrist, but they do like a live version that's they change the lyrics to it's Anticop.
Okay, we'll
That's
learn something
awesome.
new every day. That's dope.
Yeah, that's which we played it live a few times. I think maybe for like one tour or something.
Okay.
But
Man,
yeah, I mean, like,
go ahead. No, go
go
ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just
I
gonna say
was
Sepultura gets some love because that show we recently went to, Bulldog covered
Yeah,
a
Bulldog played
Sepultura song too.
Territory.
really
Territory. It was
oh,
hard.
territory. Okay,
Yeah,
that's sick.
yeah.
I think it's funny because the band's Bulldog and the lyrics are "Mark My Territory," so I'm like, that's fucking.
Yeah,
I
yeah. You're like,
like it.
I see what you guys are doing.
Hell yeah.
That's funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off though. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good, man. I was just gonna say, like, we were like, we definitely like, especially when we started Cystic, like, we were coming in with so many different influences, and like, I think the three of us, the original like Cystic members, like, we're all like punks and skate, So like that was kind of like the energy that we were bringing in, was like definitely super chaotic and super like fast. But then we also knew that we wanted to do these kind of like slower elements and stuff. So like, yeah, it's hard for me to listen to that demo because I'm like, damn, we were on a sick one then. Uh, but it's like that's what we were doing, like we recorded in our basement, like, it's like definitely very true to self for sure.
Starts so innocent and then turns into something else.
Right. I'm not super innocent because, like I said, we were fucked
That's
up,
fair.
but but yeah,
So you also you have a label as well, Familiar Temple Records, right? Am I right on that?
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So how we don't know anything. How is running a label for you? Like what's like the rewarding aspect, and then what's maybe the like this kind of sucks part.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely like extremely, extremely small, kind of like labor of love kind of a thing.
Okay, sick.
But it was definitely something that I wanted to do to like help put out some friends music. It's more like noise and ambient
Okay.
label. But yeah, I had a lot of friends that were making like good music and like wanted to put it out, And it's like I've been putting out records for a little bit, so like I can definitely like it's definitely nice to like collaborate with some people and like help to bring some of those ideas to life. So basically, just working with some homies, like working with people that I like and like you know enjoy what they create and think they're like on some cool on some cool shit. And I really I just want to like help kind of create like or like help bring those ideas to life.
I
Ah,
love that
that's so
you have
cool.
your hands in like a different types of genres too. Does like working on that does that like show in like translate in the other projects that you work on? Like
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I think like with the new Cystic record, like some of the interludes and like some of the like the more like slower parts, I is definitely like trying to get those ideas out in like more of a band type setting, and like trying to experiment with just like creating atmospheres and yeah, like setting a mood kind of.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's just for sure. DOL doesn't, it's kind of a different band, so I don't get to like. There's
Yeah,
not as
it's kind
much
of
room to be.
straightforward to your face. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's like
Yeah, I
there's not a
like
lot of
that.
room to work with on that, but yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, it's just like trying to bring like trying to build a mood or like create an atmosphere kind of.
Fuck yeah.
dope. As far as you being like a fan of music, do you keep up with new releases pretty regularly, or do you kind of stick to the stuff you love?
Both, definitely both. Like I'm always looking at like, new music and new bands, and there's so many like insanely talented fucking good bands these days that it's like it's hard to keep up, man. But like I'm
Agreed.
consistently blown away with the bands that are coming out these days.
Yeah, I just checked out this album. I think the band was called like Sovereign, and
Okay, I'm not
man,
familiar.
that album was really cool because it's like a like a thrash like death metal type album. But what I liked about it is that it sounded like it was made in the like late 80s, early 90s. Uh,
Sick.
so like I like that's one of my favorite things about this music is I try to keep up with stuff. But like you said, like there's so much coming out to where like unfortunately stuff goes past me that I don't hear about. So I know what you
Yeah,
mean. It's
man.
like
Yeah,
it's
I mean
tough at times.
it's a good time to be like a music head, like there's just so much, and it's like bands, especially like since COVID, like bands are just like rearing to go, there's so much touring, there's so many touring bands out there. Uh, and shows happening and like people booking shows, like it's a pretty cool time to be in a band, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah,
That's
for
like one
sure.
of my
And to be
favorite
a fan.
things.
And to be
Yeah.
a fan, we
Yeah.
get so lucky with all the shows and the bills. You're like, oh wait, that's coming near us? What?
Yeah, exactly. And
So
like the next week you got another crazy tour package coming through. Like it's really it's sick, man. I mean, like I said, I'm constantly blown away by some of these newer bands out here that are just so like damn good and like nailing it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And one of the other things I love about heavy music right now is it's not like it's all coming from like the usual places you would think of, Florida, New York, California. It's like you got great bands from freaking Fargo, North Dakota, and
Yeah,
Birmingham,
Phobophilic.
Alabama.
Louisville. Yeah.
Right.
Freaking Oklahoma and what's it called
Feeling flesh.
Healing Flesh.
Yeah,
Like
Healing Flesh is insane, man. What a sick band.
Wild.
And
They have some of the best
Phobophilic.
samples.
Yeah, killing it, man, killing it. I love
Yeah.
I love that band. And you said, yeah, Fargo, that's the Phobophilic dudes, right?
Yeah,
Phobophilic,
Phobophilic
love that
Mall.
band. And Maul is another band from there that's
Oh, okay, yeah,
absolutely
Maul.
killer.
We played that Killtown Death Fest in Copenhagen this summer, and Phobophilic had like by far the best set of the
Oh,
fest. I think.
they are
Dude,
so wild live.
I could not believe it. There was like two stages, so like a smaller room and then a bigger room. That was probably like I don't know, maybe 2,000 cap. And like
Oh
it
damn,
was it
okay.
was hard for bands to sound good in that room because it was so big. But like Phobophilic sounded
Fucking
insane.
mighty. We were
Oh
just
my
in a
God, dude.
tiny room, and they were like too much almost. We're like, holy shit,
It was
this is
blowing my mind. I was
wild.
like, how is this band sounding this good? It was
Yeah.
insane. I think they were coming off a 2 week tour. So there was like
Okay.
the fest was the last show of their tour, and I was like, fuck, man, these guys have been killing it this entire tour. I was blown away.
I love
Okay.
that band. We've got the chance to see them once, and then we were supposed to see them another time, but they had van issues and they didn't make it.
Yeah, right. I remember seeing that.
So like, and then I just saw they unfortunately had to drop off a European tour with Frozen Soul. So it's like, man, these poor guys
Oh,
can't
really?
get a break. So
Shit, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were nice, super nice dudes. I really can't say enough. I was like, how does this band sound this good?
I agree. I mean, and they just last album, Enveloping Absurdity, like that was one of those albums where I had bookmark in Bandcamp for like 3 months, and I'm like,
Yeah.
please release this. I cannot wait to hear it. And like we had talked to dudes in bands where they're like, dude, we've heard that Phobophilic album and it's crazy. So like
Yeah.
I had my expectations were up here and then they were met. It was like that. I
Surpassed
remember
it.
that day specifically, I was in heaven because that album came out and then Tribal Gaze, the Nine Choirs came out the
Yeah,
same
dude.
day,
Another crazy band.
and
Yeah.
those two albums, like they're still regularly being listened to on my part.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy they came out the same
Yeah,
day.
it's so sick to like see like album hype, get built up and then like a band to deliver on that. Because that shit's hard to do. Like that's a fucking hard thing to do, especially in today's age where like records, sometimes get listened to, sometimes not. It's like the patience
Yeah.
isn't super high. So to like have a band like get some hype and then like put out a record that like succeeds expectations is like that's fucking hard to do. You know what I mean?
Fuck
I
yeah, it is.
agree. I feel bad for 200 Stab Wounds because, like, I know they're
Yeah.
releasing an album soon, and I know, like, just seeing stuff, like, people have really high expectations for
I
that album.
know.
I
That
think they'll
last one
deliver
was
because
fucking wild.
I think they'll deliver because I do think they're like, if you see that band live, it doesn't
Insane.
take long to be like, oh, this band has something that like isn't normal. Uh,
Yeah, agreed.
so like, and some of the new stuff they've played, it's really good. So that's
Yeah, I
one of
listen
those
to
bands.
I listen to live videos of them all the time because they're just so fucking good. I saw them on the Gatecreeper Narrowhead tour,
Yeah, that was
and
a
I
sick tour.
was listening to some of the interview with homie
Steve.
Steve. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that band blew me away. That was the first time I saw them was at that Gatecreeper
That was our
tour,
first time
and
too, and
they kind of low key stole the show. Like everyone
Yeah.
was good, obviously. Like don't get me wrong, but like they just had an energy that was unmatched, and like sonically they just sounded so fucking dialed in.
it's
Yeah.
funny you say they stole the show because there was a show we went to. I don't want to say what tour it was because I don't want to, but I remember
Right.
going in thinking that they were the headliner, and they played their set, and it was as full as can be, and
Yeah.
an equally awesome band played after them, and
Yeah.
the room was probably about halfway, and I'm like, damn, like,
Yeah. Right. It's like hard to bring those dudes on tour because they'll fucking kill it every night.
yeah, and like
And
now
like I
they're
mean, and
good.
right, I mean they've done so many crazy tours. It's like it's so sick to see bands like that get the success that they do because it's like so well deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I saw like I wish we could go, obviously, but it's all the way in Michigan. I saw that there's a show where the Jesus P. Sanguisugabog Peeling Flesh gag tour meets
Oh
the
yeah.
Dying Fetus Full of Hell Cruelty 200 Stab Wound show, and
Right.
I'm like, dude, that's got to be one of the craziest bills I've seen. I would
That's
be
like a
kind of
historic moment.
yeah,
It
like
really is.
that was the kind of
If you
show.
think about like the state of music today, like a state of like aggressive music today, it's like that's every fucking band like coming together for like this insane show.
You're like, wait, what the fuck is this?
Right,
Everybody's
And
gonna
right,
they
be there.
all sound so different from each other. Like
right.
full of hell. They're a band that I've always liked.
Yeah,
But like I could say that they're a tough listen at times where
yeah,
it's like
for sure.
it's very loud and abrasive, uh, like
But live,
noisy. But
holy
but
shit.
live, that is one of the best bands I've ever seen live. Where
Yeah, I've never seen them.
oh
Oh,
my gosh,
they're
man, that
Never.
wild.
is
And I'm a fan.
Wait,
I love that shit. I love all that noise shit. Like I'm a big fan. It's just never happened. But
e-
I know it's like an experience their
It
shows.
is that guy, Dylan, the vocalist. He looks like he's in agonizing pain the entire set, and like that's
That's
what.
so sick.
And like the coolest part was like I feel like most bands you kind of know like when they're about to start, like they just started. Like you're just sitting there,
yeah,
and then
you're
all of
like,
a
what
sudden, what
the
the fuck
fuck?
Right. Right.
came out
Yeah,
and
I
freaking
gotta catch them one of these days. But yeah, that like converging to tour packages is like insane. I saw that and I was like, this is like a historic moment. Like
yeah.
people are gonna look back on that and be like, damn, like that's fucking crazy.
In Pontiac, Michigan, too, of all places. I'm like, I
That's
don't think
so
I've heard
that's
of
so sick, man.
Pontiac, Michigan, but holy shit, I want to go to Pontiac,
Yeah, we will
Michigan
now,
now.
right? Right. Yeah, that's just crazy, man. It's just another thing where it's like, man, it's good to be a music fan these days.
Definitely. One thing just to turn a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what kind of uh, guitar and like amp setup do you use in your bands?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I I've dialed it in. It's taken a long time of like trying to dial it in, and especially for Denial of Life, like being the only guitar player, like it's such a guitar heavy band. Like the guitar's
Yeah.
got to sound super on point. Um, so I've always been like a PV guy, 5150. So I've used a 5150 for forever, but it really kind of took me a lot of time to like dial in and like really get that to like be as like heavy and full as possible. So I'll play like a Jackson. I play a Jackson, and out of a 5150, but I'll use the effects loop and I'll run like an EQ pedal out of the effects loop, which is like giving me that like that bite, because sometimes that 5150 like just like needs a little like, whether it's an overdrive or some sort of boost, like, so I use that EQ pedal to like boost it a little bit without like adding too much hotness or too much distortion. So
Okay.
like all the like chug parts and the palmy parts are super like, there's a lot of clarity, uh, but it's still like aggressive and can like fill a room, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I'll use two 5150s for Denial of Life,
Sick.
um,
Okay.
on both sides, because I just want to like, we just want to sound loud and full, you know. So I'll just use an ABY switch to run two 5150s, which are EQ'd like a little differently.
Okay.
So
Sick.
they're both kind of like sitting in a good pocket.
That makes sense that you would use the 5150. It's easily one of the most versatile and most used amps out there. So
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, it's like, don't fix it if it's not broke kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
I mean,
and they're
hey, if
fucking
it's
good amps. They sound good. You know, like
yeah,
you know, like why, you know, fuck with it. But I mean, it has taken me a little time to kind of dial it in, and just make sure it's like as like have that clarity, but that hotness as well. And then I run a similar rig for Cystic, another 5150, just kind of EQ'd a little differently. I'll run that EQ pedal, just so it's a little more like cavernous. And then I'll
yeah.
run like a chorus pedal not through the effects loop, so it's a little dirtier. Um, it kind of gives it like a little like reverb almost. That
Okay.
just kind of gives it that like dirty, kind of like murky sound.
Sick.
It always amazes me because Al, he's super like into the techie side of it and like the gear. It always amazes me that just it's the same equipment, slight tweaks, and you can make
Dude, yeah.
completely different sounds and how versatile it is. It's so dope.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, it's like you'll play a fest and like everyone's playing either like a 5150 or a triple rep. And like
Mhm.
Yeah.
everyone's playing the same amp, everyone's playing the same cab, and like certain bands will just like sound so fucking good, you know? And it's like it's just the little nuances, and it's like, you know, I think just like having toured so much, like getting that experience of like kind of being out of your element a little bit, you know, and like being at a venue that you don't know super well, like gear that you don't know super well, and you're like, okay, how am I gonna get this to sound good in the way that I want it to? Uh, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like the littlest things, and like you'll see a fest where bands are playing on the same gear, and like certain bands just like sound so good.
That's
I'm with
dope.
it. A band. I keep talking about it, but we went to Bangin' in the Rock in Arkansas, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
Shadow
band that
banging.
like blew me
Oh
the fuck
yep, hard.
away
Got the
was the
dog
band
on there.
Outer Heaven, because
Yeah,
like I that was my favorite album of last year, so I already was like excited to see them, and the way I knew that they were gonna be like the sickest band live was the guitarist in front of us was playing like a guitar brand that I had never even heard of, and
yeah,
he was playing through a 6505 and just the tuner pedal. That was it. So I was like, oh
oh,
damn,
that's
okay.
so fucking badass.
And but then
I get
the
so
other
hyped when I see that.
yeah, and then the other guitar player is wearing a Grateful Dead shirt and has like a chorus pedal, a tuner pedal, and an overdrive, and playing like on a just normal looking Strat, and I'm like, dude, like I could tell that this is gonna be the craziest shit I've
Yeah, you're
ever
like, what the
seen.
fuck is about to happen?
And sure enough, like I've like I said, we go to a show a month. Sometimes we'll go two a month, and I haven't left like a performance with my jaw on the ground like that
Really?
in a
That's
long
crazy, man.
time.
Well, he says
That
a
says a
Grateful
lot.
Dead shirt. He says a Grateful Dead shirt. This guy had like acid wash jeans with the tucked in Grateful Dead
Damn,
tie-dye
looking,
shirt, the tie-dye
no
shirt.
way.
Yeah.
And it was
Looking
just like, oh,
crazy.
you're like, you know what you're doing out here.
Yeah, you're like, you're a freak, man. I know you got some
Yeah.
riffs in that fucking brain of
Yeah.
yours.
Sure
Yeah.
enough, and even the singer, like he did this funny bit where he brought a trophy, and he's like, "Whoever fucking moshes the hardest for this song gets this trophy. You're the fucking
Oh
mosh
shit.
warrior." And
Okay.
at
Yeah.
some point, he's in
It
the
was a
crowd
karate trophy.
moshing while
It
freaking while being a frontman. It was awesome, man.
That's sick.
I
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, obviously, I've seen that band around and listened to their record a little bit, but haven't seen them. They seem like
oh,
a
they're
cool
yeah.
awesome.
band, like unique, definitely unique band.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, who doesn't love a little bit of space in their death metal?
Exactly, man. Yeah, we need some of that.
It's like the band that I need to cross off my list. Oh, that we haven't seen for whatever reason is Blood Incantation. I got to get them off my list. Just keep evading
Yeah,
me.
I know. I've seen them once. I saw them on the Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel,
Oh damn. Okay,
Metal tour,
That's
which
awesome.
was
that's a hell of a tour.
pre-COVID. Insane, yeah, insane. They played like a cool theater in Seattle, and they're crazy, man. I mean, like their live performances are just like unmatched. They're just like so fucking good at their instruments. It's crazy.
Fucking
Yep,
A.
they're the reason for the BC rich market exploding. I feel like
I
them
know.
and
Yeah, seriously, they're fucking. They another band that just like, I deserves all the success they get. As far as I'm concerned.
definitely. Well,
Yeah.
we will start kind of winding it down. So
Yeah.
2024 brings a new year for you. What
Yep.
does this year bring for Cystic and for Denial of Life?
Yeah, it brings some cool stuff. Cystic is about to put out a split in the next
Okay,
couple weeks. Yeah, with I won't say what band, but another cool Seattle band that
I'm
kind of makes
excited.
sense for us. Yeah, it's fun. It'll be on Iron Lung Records, which does a lot of like cool punk shit.
oh sick.
So
Okay,
that'll be cool. It seems like a good like. It seems like it's all meant to be kind of.
Fuck yeah.
Um, yeah, so Denial of Life leaves for Europe in like 3 weeks. We're
dope.
doing a
Okay,
tour about a month tour around the UK and Europe, which will be our first time as a band out there.
sick.
Denial of Life is also recording a record kind of as we speak. We're trying to get it kind of dialed in. So hopefully another full length here before the end of the year.
Sick.
Fucking
Okay,
A.
Um,
that's a busy
yeah,
year
which
then.
it's a busy year, man. Like we've been writing. Yeah, Denial of Life has been writing and kind of revising and like writing and revising, and we're like finally getting into the zone here. So we're super hyped about the new material. Yeah, and then Cystic will go to Europe in like July for a little tour. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah, man. So just trying to fucking stay busy and just keep putting out music and try and see as many new places as possible, and yeah, just kind of keep it moving.
That's fucking
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've got one more thing, and then unless you have anything, Ramon, the last thing I ask everybody: how does metal or heavy music in general get you high?
Hell yeah, that's a sick question. I think like the aggressiveness, the like the first thing that got me was the live shows, like seeing like the aggressiveness, like how fucking loud it is, like just the energy I think is what does it, like the energy being a part of like this like moving part, is like it definitely got me when I was a kid for sure. And then as I've gotten older, I think what gets me a little high is like the songwriting, like being with my friends and like writing songs and being like, how are we gonna approach this in a way that's really cool and unique and like a little weird? Like I think death metal like has so many possibilities and like
Agreed.
so many avenues to like do some really cool shit that like other genres kind of don't have. So I think what gets me going is just like exploring the creativity of it, and like exploring the different avenues and like being able to write music with my friends is like it's what it's kind of what it's all about.
Hey,
Fucking
that's
A, man.
awesome. It like tying in the community aspect and the creative aspect. That's really cool to hear, man.
Yeah, man, because I don't think like if we were just all alone out here like doing this stuff by ourselves, like it'd be cool, but like it's the community and it's the people and it's like the connections that we make that I feel like really like take it from like this to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll put some links that way people could check out your music and support because you've got some awesome projects, and I'm very happy to hear that there's what sounds like a thriving scene in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good place to be, and I appreciate you guys, man. It's sick to see you guys interviewing a bunch of cool fucking creative people. You know, it's sick to have this other avenue too to like connect and like talk with some cool people.
Well, one
Yeah,
of the
we
things,
appreciate the shit out of that, man.
yeah, we
Yeah,
appreciate that, and
100%.
like this is like I've only been playing guitar for like a little over a year. He's been playing bass for a little over a
Fire.
year, so it's like
That's
we're not proficient enough to like put anything
Not
out.
at
So it's like
all.
this is kind
hey,
of our like creative outlet till we can get to
yeah.
a point where we want to be, because we don't want to, like, we want to put something in and not just take from this music
Yeah,
that we
well, you
love.
guys are doing it, man. I mean, like I was listening to like some older interviews, and it's sick, man. And like I just love seeing how other people's brain works, you know, like other musicians'
Yeah,
brain works, and like you'd be like, oh shit, you kind of feel this way too, or like you have a different approach to this. Like it's really sick to hear other people talk about this shit, man. So you guys are giving
dude,
lot to the
that's
community, you know.
that's
Hey,
the
we
best part
appreciate it.
about it for sure. Is just it's picking everybody that we fucking we're like, holy shit, this is amazing. We get to pick their brains too, so it's just
Right,
nothing
because
but a
it's
big plus for us.
yeah,
or
man. It's
talking
relatable, but everyone's different, you know.
or talking to someone like yourself, like every day, once, the next day we're like, dude, that guy was hella fucking cool. Like,
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
be
it's
talking about it.
that aspect of it where it's like we've never, like, you would think on the surface that metal wouldn't be that way, but it's like it's everyone's just, like a nerd nerding out on the stuff that they
yeah,
like, and
right,
this is
right. And
cool.
it's for the people and the homies, you know, and just like bridging those gaps is important, and you guys are doing it, man. So fucking thank you for having me.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, and good luck on the year, man. We safe travels on your trips to
Thank you
Europe,
guys.
and
Yeah, yeah,
we can't
yeah.
wait to check out that split.
Fire. Thanks, man. I'll be tuning in to the next episodes.
Dope. All right,
Fucking A,
have a good
thanks,
one.
brother. All right.